One of the most common problems of gardeners and plant enthusiasts is root rot. One day the plants look healthy, the next day you suddenly see them looking dull and are starting to rot. Today we are going to talk about root rot, how to treat it, and how to prevent it. This is Garden Life, the channel for all of your gardening needs. Root rot. What is it? Root rot is a plant disease at its most basic level, but understanding its causes is crucial. Several types of fungus or wet soil may be the source of the sickness. There are many factors that might cause soil to become waterlogged, including inadequate drainage, persistently excessive rainfall, and overwatering. Of all of them, overwatering could be the most unsettling. You are aware that your plants require water, and you think that providing them with water proves your personal integrity. But in this situation, there is too much of a good thing. Yet, even excessive watering or an abnormally wet spell won't always be enough to saturate your soil with water. The biggest enabler is poor drainage. It is uncommon for sandy soil to get saturated since water passes through it like a sieve. Clayey soil, however, retains water for a very long period. Hence, the combination of poor drainage and too much moisture typically causes the land to become waterlogged. Although you would not consider plant roots to require oxygen for breathing, they do. They sink in it, rot, perish, and become worthless to the plants they support, eventually culminating in the loss of the plant if the issue isn't resolved. This is why wet soil is a concern for them. Paradoxically, water cannot be transported to the rest of the plant by decaying roots since they are unable to absorb it. As a result, the remainder of the plant wilts. Occasionally, root rot is caused by anything other than wet soil. An organism like Phytophthora, a fungus, may be the direct cause. Yet wet soil is a facilitator for Phytophthora, much as inadequate drainage makes excess water an issue. Fungi flourish in moist environments. Phytophthora rarely causes problems in soil with good drainage. Identification of root rot. Root rot develops underground, out of sight, which is why it is so difficult to spot in a timely way. Despite the disease's name, root rot, gardeners typically find symptoms in a plant's leaves rather than its roots. Sadly, at that time, the harm has already been done. Yellowing leaves may indicate root rot, at which point they may fall off. The leaves might also change shape, like smaller than usual or twisted. When you do investigate the roots, you can discover that they are rotten smelling and a different color than usual, like darker or reddish brown. No matter how much water you give the plant, it constantly seems wilted, which is another indication of root rot. How to prevent or treat root rot. It is far simpler to prevent root rot in the first place than to treat it after you have it. The greatest preventive advice is to avoid overwatering your lawn and to provide it with excellent drainage. When it comes to a precise measurement, it is challenging to determine how much water is too much. Digging down into the dirt just beyond a plant's root zone is the best way to detect whether it has been watered appropriately. The majority of plants like soil that is consistently wet throughout their root zones. Hence, if you see that the soil has dried out there, you are not watering it sufficiently. But if you find it drenched, you overwatered it. There are several techniques to enhance the drainage of a yard, including adding soil additions such as compost to the soil, setting up French drains, and using raised beds for your gardening. If root rot develops despite your best efforts to prevent it, all hope is not lost if the plant in question is small enough, and if the issue was discovered in good time. Because they are growing in containers and you have easy access to their roots, houseplants, which are infamous for developing root rot, may frequently be salvaged. Digging up the plant, cleaning the roots, and cutting off the affected areas with a sterilized cutting tool are the initial steps in treating small instances of root rot. You have two options when transplanting it. Either move it to a better location or put it back in the same position after adding compost to the soil. In any case, providing your plants with friable soil to thrive in might prevent root rot in the future. Root rot prevention through careful plant selection. You should not undervalue the significance of wise plant selection either. Grow plants intended for being in or near water or plants that can endure poor drainage. If you're aware that your soil tends to stay wetter than is desirable for most plants. Some plants that are prone to root rot are alpine lily, andromeda, yews, heather, and flora from the Mediterranean like English lavender. Knowing the early signs of root rot will help you save your plant. You can also ensure that there is a small chance of developing root rot by making sure that you are providing only the right amount of water and giving room for oxygen and water to flow freely in the soil. That's it for today's video. We hope you learned a lot from this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell for more videos. This is Garden Life, the channel for all of your gardening needs.